What is up, my friends? We are back, and oh, how I have missed you guys over the last week. It's great to be back with you, and of course, back in action tomorrow against Nottingham Forest. It is a 3 p.m. kickoff, which unfortunately means if you're in the UK, you're going to have to get creative to watch it. As always, though, we've got you covered. We'll be starting our watch along from 2 p.m. We're going to make it a little bit different tomorrow. What we're going to do is carry on through our watch along into our match reaction with one long stream. Just going to try and shake it up a little bit to see if it works as well as we hope it does. Tonight we're going to be talking about the contract situation. We're going to be trying to figure out who's going to start tomorrow against Forest, and of course lots of other bits and pieces, including a bit of an update around the Adidas kits that we may expect to see next season on these Liverpool players, and lots more. Whatever it is you want to talk about, as always, this is your show, so feel free to let us know. It's great to be back, by the way, and I have a bit of good news for you. So I know that the intro song is going to be a divisive thing. Some people will like it, some people won't like it. But what we wanted to do was just make it available to you. So if you're a member of Anfield Agenda, that song is up on the membership tabs now. So you can go and have a listen to it for yourself, download it, or do whatever you'd like to do with it. If you're a member, just check out the membership section of the channel and it will be there for you. It feels weird, you know, to be back after a week away. These weeks feel like a month sometimes, but I'm glad we've all gotten through the international break. Of course, there was a bit of an injury concern for us. Harvey Elliott is going to be out for between 4 to 6 weeks with a fractured foot that he picked up training with the under-21s. So that's going to obviously give us a bit more of a headache as we look to rotate over the next, I think it's 7 games in 21 days, something like that. But I'm buzzing. I'm so happy to be back, and I'm really looking forward, of course, to the watch along tomorrow. Want to say a big thank you as well to everyone who was so far got their tickets to come and see us. We're going to be in Liverpool November the 15th. We are putting on an incredible show. We're going to have a live musical act, a live stand-up comedian, and then myself and Connor are going to be on stage as well. If you want to come and see us, the good news is it's an all-ages event. You can get your tickets with the link at the top of the chat or in the description of this stream, or you can just check out the Hot Water Comedy Club as well. Right, let's get into it. What do we want to start talking about? I'm not too sure about the Adidas kit, said Rob. Rob, I'm just happy, bro, to have Adidas back. Yeah, it just feels great to have them back. I'm very much looking forward to next season because, as you know, I'm an Adidas fan, so I'm going to be wearing a lot of Adidas gear moving forward next season. Right, first membership message of the day as well from Mark. Thank you very much, Mark. I am now working with a touchscreen back-end system, which is so much more snazzy for me. Mark, thank you. It does indeed say we are back, and yes, we are, Mark, and thank you for your comment as well, and thank you for your membership, Mark, and for everything else you do, actually, quite frankly, Mark, as our chief moderator. Right, so you did see I did my preview. I'm not sure if you guys had a chance to watch it. It went up earlier on. And I'm aware that there's 3 changes, I believe, in there from the starting 11 that we've seen. And usually I'd be a bit hesitant to change a winning team. But as I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, we do have something like 7 games in 21 days. So Arne Slot is going to have to start to lean on that squad and try to find ways of keeping people fresh over the course of the season. It's always really tempting to just keep the team as it is, and I totally understand the comments from people who were saying maybe that's too many changes. It's fair enough, but I do think we have to keep an eye on the fact that we have Forest, then we've got a Champions League game against AC Milan coming up on Tuesday as well, and I think it's trying to figure out how many changes you can make without really losing the balance of the team and, of course, putting the results at jeopardy. So at home against Forest, I do think we may see a couple of changes from Arne Slot. Where's the money, John? Look, you know what? On these trips away, a lot of the time I reflect on how the channel is going, how I've been feeling, how I've been coming across to people, of course, as well. And there's one thing that I kept coming back to. Over the last few months, I've been a little bit... I've a little bit of a chip on my shoulder about certain people not recognising the channel, or the club blanking the channel. And I've decided, you know what? I don't care. I care about the people who come in to watch us. I care about the people who give us their time and interact with us and come in to be part of our community. So that's where I'm going to try and keep my focus moving forward. I don't want to be snapping at people. I don't want to have a chip on my shoulder about the club. I want to make you guys happy to be part of our community. And that's what I'm going to try and focus on for the rest of the season. Again, we would ask people not to be spamming in the chat because you will get removed from some of our moderators, and we don't want you to be removed, so try and keep your comments every couple of minutes if possible. Right, Stevie boy, thank you, mate, for your comment as well. Appreciate you. Said, any truth that Curtis Jones is starting? I mean, I'm going to be honest, bro, I haven't got a clue. I couldn't tell you if Curtis Jones is going to be starting, but what I can say to you is he is back fully training. And maybe Arne Slot will look to start him because, of course, we know Alexis McAllister had an abductor strain while he was away with Argentina. Now, we did play, I think, 20-25 minutes of Argentina's second game, and to the best of my understanding, he's been back training since yesterday at the AXA training facility. So, I don't know if Jones will start, but it wouldn't be a huge surprise to me if he did, because we've no Elliott, and maybe he feels Gravenberch, Jones and Szoboszlai could be the midfield trio, allowing Alexis to have a bit of a rest maybe ahead of the AC Milan game. I guess it's just a matter of what he prioritises with regards to the Premier League and the Champions League, or what balance he thinks he needs to strike. Tobias, how are you, mate? Let me just get your comment up on screen as well. Always lovely to have you with us, Tobias. Member for 6 months, but a viewer since COVID. Thank you for the journey so far, and great to have you after a long international break. I always feel really guilty about going away during the international breaks. My family vacations, but they're always the easiest time to take them because Liverpool content is rather quiet during the international break. So appreciate you, Tobias, mate, and thank you for being back in with us. Brian Miller, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC, Brian. Really appreciate that. And of course, you will now have access to the Anfield Agenda theme song, which, yes, is AI generated. I've seen somebody asking that in the chat. It is. Somebody, one of our viewers was actually kind enough to make it on AI and send it over to us. So Connor, if you are watching, thank you for that. Rachel, again, thank you, Rachel, for gifting a membership. Very kind of you indeed, Rachel. Appreciate that. So, yeah, for me, if you haven't watched my preview, the 11 that I went with off the top of my head was Alisson. I guess that we might see Gomez at left back to give Robbo a break, Trent at right back, Kwanzaa and Van Dijk in the centre back positions. In midfield, I did go for Gravenberch, McAllister and Szoboszlai, and then up top I put Cody Gakpo on the left, Mohamed Salah on the right, and maybe to the surprise of some people, I did say let's give Darwin a run out because he wasn't away on international duty, so he will be fit and rested. He would have had time to work with Arne Slot and the coaches at the AXA training centre, and it feels like a good chance to get Darwin off and running. Diogo has done nothing wrong. He's been a very good centre forward for us since the season started. But again, it's about managing the minutes. We've got a game on Tuesday. This could be the chance to kickstart Darwin's season and let him bag his first goal. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see him start, or maybe I'm just being too optimistic there. Rachel, again, thank you for gifting another membership. Appreciate you on that one. Eddie Cox Wilkins, how are you, Eddie? And thank you for your membership comment, Eddie. Said people need to drop the Darwin agenda. They just need to give him a bit of breathing room, is what I would say, Eddie. We all know it's been a frustrating time for Darwin. It's been frustrating for us watching as fans at times, but we got to get behind him. You know, he's a Liverpool player, and we know if he comes good, what he's capable of. So I hope Arne Slot's able to get that best out of him, and I think he could be. So let's wait and see. I'm buzzing though. I mean, as I said, we've got this game, then we've got AC Milan coming up midweek. It's just fun right now until the next international break, which we won't talk about yet. Craig, would you start Chiesa against Forest, as it may not be too much of a risk to try him out before he plays bigger games? I wouldn't start him, Rob, because again, I think starting him could be a little bit of a stretch, as he hasn't had any minutes this season. You know, when he was at Juve, he was completely frozen out under Thiago Motta, so we didn't get the opportunity to play at all. I do think we will see him, but I think it's more likely to come off the bench. And look, if you wanted to introduce him and play him in his first game for the club from the start, AC Milan seems like a good fit for me there, because of course he knows all about playing AC Milan from his time over with Juventus and of course Fiorentina. How was the holiday? It was good, thank you. Yes, it was very good. Did everything I needed to do. Relax, spend time with the family. Introduced my son to the genius of Adam Sandler as well. We watched a couple of movies. And do you know what I did watch, actually? And I've never watched them before, so I'm going to be honest. I watched the Deadpool trilogy. So I watched the first, the second, and the Wolverine one. And I'm converted. I have to say, they were brilliant. They were really, really good. Usually I don't like superhero kind of movies, but I like the edginess of Deadpool and, of course, Ryan Reynolds. So, yeah, brilliant. Danny, thank you so much, mate. First super chat of the night, Danny. Really appreciate your support. Danny said, Craig, newbie here. Love your content. Top bloke. Mate, that means a lot. Thank you. I'm always glad when people come in, give us a chance, because I'm getting a bit... And this is named at you, of course, Danny. I'm getting a bit fed up with people judging us from a thumbnail that says, where's the money, John, or something. Yes, we do need to get people to watch. We do need to get people to come in. But we're not the raving lunatics a lot of people make us out to be. So I do appreciate when people like yourself come in, say you're new, and you appreciate the content. Thank you so much, mate. We appreciate having you with us as well. Thank you. Joanne said, welcome back, Craig. Missed your show. Hope you had a great holiday. It was lovely. Thank you, Joanne. Always good to reintroduce myself to the family, because heaven knows during the season I'm all go with work, so it's always lovely to get that little bit of family time, especially because Lucas is now 12 and, you know, he's not going to want to spend time with his parents soon, so it's lovely to get these special little family trips together. Mahmood, how are you, bro? Nice to see you in again. Let me just get your comment up on screen. I'm feeling very Sky Sportsy here with the touchscreen, by the way, in the back end system to bring these comments up. What are your thoughts for the AC Milan game? Will be tough for us, or we got too much for them since Milan didn't start well? Welcome back, Craig. Do you know what? On that, I was actually reading a piece earlier on, and apparently AC Milan aren't even going to have a full San Siro for the game, Mahmood. I was reading a piece, I think this is from the Echo, and it said they've got 19,000 unsold tickets so far for the game against us on Tuesday. According to Semper Milan, they believe that there's a lack of enthusiasm around the appointment of Fonseca and the start of the season that they had. And here's the part, Mahmood, that really concerned me, mate. Would you believe that the prices for AC Milan's Champions League games, and now I got to point out, these are not hospitality prices, these are regular ticket prices, they range from €59 to €349. And then remember, they're not hospitality, so no wonder they haven't sold them all out. But yeah, that one surprised me. So apparently AC Milan fans aren't too happy at the moment, so I'm hoping we can capitalise on that and get the result, because this Champions League format, every game really does count now. So it's not like before where you can top your group and kind of coast through. You need to make sure that if you can get into the top 8 places in the 32 team group, well then, you know, you're not going to have to play that preliminary knockout round in between the group stage of the league phase and the last 16. So yeah, every game really does count. Danny LaRue, how are you, Danny? Lovely to see you as well, bro. Great to have you back in. Said, hope you and the family had a great holiday. We did, mate. It was lovely. Absolutely no complaints. Everything went as we'd hoped for. Flights weren't delayed. It was just lovely. Weather was really nice as well. What time's kickoff tomorrow? So it's a 3 p.m. kickoff, Connor. We'll be starting our watch along from 2 p.m. Now, if you're in Ireland, you can watch the game on Premier Sport. It is being shown over here in Ireland. But of course, if you're in the UK, it isn't going to be on TV, so no better place than to come and join us for the watch along. We're going to reintroduce an extra bit of matchday content from tomorrow. So if you're with us at the start of the stream, you'll know that I said we're going to do our watch along, and the same stream is going to carry into a match reaction. So regular viewers will know we used to do the watch along, then we'd end and come back for the match reaction. We're going to do it all in one long stream, and then we're going to put up our pre-recorded match reaction, which is going to be about 8 to 12 minutes, and of course our player ratings video then as well. Adam, thank you, mate, for your comment. Let me just get it up on screen. Oh, Craig hit the button again. There you go. Bragging about the technology, and then the idiot here can't even use it properly. There we go. I think I've got it up now, do I? Why isn't this coming up for me? There we go. Hope you had a lovely holiday. What's your thoughts on the Kelleher comments? I respect what he wants. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because, as Arne Slot said, you don't want players who are going to be happy sitting on the bench. I do understand where Caoimhín Kelleher's coming from, but I also understand the club side on this one, because it doesn't look like we got the offer that the club would have deemed enough for his services, which according to reports in the media was somewhere between 25 and 30 million quid. And you're not going to sell the kid for less than you think he's worth, because as many people would point out, he's one of, if not possibly the best number 2 in the Premier League and maybe even in Europe. So I understand both sides of this one. You know, I go in on the club and the owners for a lot of stuff, but I do feel if they have a valuation of a player, and I think, and look, I'll be really, really, really honest, I don't understand how people weren't queuing up to pay 25 or 30 million quid for Kelleher. I really don't. He's more than good enough to play for, I would say, 14 of the 20 Premier League clubs as a number 1. So, yeah, I'm just surprised that nobody put the money down. But I do understand his perspective as well. I also understand that maybe he's looking at it and going, well, they've brought in Mamardashvili. I could have been the number 1 next season. So, I don't know. It kind of made me more wonder about what's happening with Alisson, in all honesty, mate. Because I think one of the, was it Caught Offside or one of those type of sites, said that they believe that Liverpool are preparing for Salah, Van Dijk and Trent all to leave at the end of the season. Now, I find that a stretch. I really do. Doug, how are you, bro? Lovely to see you. Let me just grab this little pencil here. Doug, where's your comment? Let me get it up on screen. Good evening, Craig. Hope you had a great holiday. I did, thank you, Doug. And I know you're headed to the Liverpool game this weekend, mate, against Forest. So I hope you have a lovely trip as well. And hopefully you get to watch a bag full of goals and the Reds winning. But yeah, family was all good, mate. Thank you. Right, so a few things to run through anyway from my notes. Some of it from while I was away, some of it from right up to now. Adrien Rabiot. Let's talk about Adrien Rabiot for a minute, because according to an Italian outlet, Calcio Mercato, Adrien Rabiot, who is still a free agent and could sign for any club anywhere in Europe at the minute because he's a free agent, apparently he wants £162,000 a week to come and play for whoever, which is about €200,000 a week. But here's the kicker. He also wants a signing on bonus of £12.6 million or about €15 million. And like I've said to you before, he's just greedy. And he's not worth it. And this is why I would put him in the mercenary category, personally. And why I don't want him anywhere near Liverpool. He's not worth a signing on fee of 15 million quid or 200 grand a week, in my opinion. So I hope that Liverpool don't even entertain the idea of signing Rabiot. But it keeps coming up in conversation. So I wanted to just give you a little report on that part of it. Another report said that Liverpool are looking to sign Jonathan Tah in the next window. Again, I would question, are we really looking to sign Jonathan Tah because we want him? Or would we potentially be looking to sign Jonathan Tah because he'd be a free agent at the end of this season? Which comes back into the whole cheapness factor. And look, I know some people don't like it when I call the owners cheap. But I can say something, hand on heart. I don't say it for effect. I don't say it for impact. I say it because, and I can't say this clearly enough, I truly find them to be cheap. So, you know, I don't expect you to agree with me all the time on that, but my stance on the owners has never changed. I've always said they've been cheap in the transfer market, and I find it disgusting that we go into this season having made a profit in the window without really addressing the deficiencies in the squad. And I don't understand how anybody who's a Liverpool fan can look at this. Also, the Echo. Let me just call out the Echo again. I'm getting sick of the Echo. They are nothing, in my opinion, but cheerleaders for FSG. They conducted a survey, and I want to know your reaction to this. In their survey of 4,000 people, they believe that 75% of Liverpool fans are happy with FSG as owners. 75%. So 3/4 of the Liverpool fan base are happy. Now, as you know, we've conducted our own surveys on the channel, and our votes have been between 6,000 and 10,000 votes. We've done 2 surveys, and both of them range somewhere between 70 to 72% that Anfield Agenda viewers are unhappy with FSG as owners. Now, I'm old enough and experienced enough to know that, yes, maybe they're skewed on both sides. Maybe our poll is reflective more of the fact that my audience could be more anti-FSG in some regards, but I really struggle to believe the other side of it as well, that 75% are happy. I would say that number is probably closer to a 50-50 split. But I don't understand how anybody can be happy with the transfer window, because the owners cheaped out yet again. And here's something that worried me, and I only read this today. Where has it gone? Sorry folks, bear with me. So this came in from, I think it was Sammy Mockbell. Said Liverpool are expected to target a left-footed centre-back in the next 2 transfer windows amid the continuing uncertainty over Virgil van Dijk's future. So here's the thing. The only reason that there is any fucking uncertainty about Mohamed Salah, Virgil van Dijk and Trent's future is because you haven't offered them new deals. This does my head in. We're again being strung along here. Give them their new deals or don't. But this nonsense in the media about, oh, well, we might have to sign 2 left-footed centre-backs. Your captain wants to stay at the club. It's an absolute travesty that we've had no contract renewals with Virgil, Mohamed and Trent. It is ridiculous and it is a bad look for the football club, and nobody's going to convince me otherwise. On top of this, there was another piece that said, one second, where's this one gone? I want to just get it back up on my notes so I can make sure I read it out correctly. Where is it gone? Liverpool considered signing a new centre-back over the summer, and here's the part that worried me when I read it, but could not attract their top targets to the club. Now, of course, there could be many reasons why you can't attract your top targets to the club. Perhaps the selling club has no interest in selling, perhaps the player is unsure about what's happening, or perhaps with the change of manager they wanted to see how Liverpool got on. But it's worrying that this piece doesn't say we tried to sign one player. It said, over the summer, we couldn't attract our top targets to the club. It goes on to say, the recruitment team have pinpointed a left-footed centre-back as a position that requires strengthening. No shit. We could have told you that before the window. But of course, as soon as the window ends, all the stories and all the promises about a bright future start coming out yet again. And some people continue to buy this crap. I'm not one of those people. Nor do I believe this story about Kylian Mbappe, which I'll move on to talk about in a little while. Eddie, thank you for your super chat, bro. Eddie said, hope your dog Harvey is okay. He's good, thank you. He's been spoiled. He's been at a doggy minder for the last week, so he's pretty good and just happy to see us home. So yeah, absolute garbage that for me. That Liverpool couldn't attract our top targets and that's why we didn't get a centre-back. That's worrying for a few reasons, but also it's just handy, isn't it? It's handy that the excuse is there that we couldn't bring in the centre-back, even though now we're talking about maybe signing 2 centre-backs in the next couple of windows. And let me just bring you to another bit of a really, really fanciful reading that came out over the international break. Almost like clockwork after the transfer windows closed, out comes the story that Liverpool tried to sign Kylian Mbappe for 200 million. I swear to God I'm not making this up. Liverpool apparently tried to sign Kylian Mbappe for 200 million quid, and it just didn't quite come off for us, you know. But of course, the very friendly FSG supporting media will just point this to another bit of brilliant play by FSG. You know, they tried. Oh God, they tried. But here's the problem with them trying. They fucking fail over and over and over. We tried to sign Tchouaméni, we failed. We tried to sign Zubimendi, we failed. We tried to sign Mbappe, we failed. We tried to sign Bellingham, we failed. But it gets mentioned. It gets mentioned a lot. They tried to sanction a 200 million. They tried to spend 115 million on Caicedo. They tried. Tried isn't going to win us a league title. When are people going to wake up to these clowns? My God, it's a joke. We tried. It's okay then, we tried. Do you know what? We tried. I tried not to be a fat fucker, but here I am. Do you know what? Is everybody else getting fed up of this? It's like clockwork. The window ends, they don't do their damn job and give the manager the squad capable of going and winning the league title. And then all the stories come out about the airy-fairy. Oh, it nearly happened. We nearly spent a load of dough. But we didn't. And that's the actual fact of the matter. Is they tried to sign Mbappe, but they failed. Like every other big signing that they've pretended to try and do whilst we haven't sold a player for a load of dosh. The only time we've actually really gone big outside of the Coutinho money when we bought Alisson and Van Dijk was the money for Darwin Núñez. That's it. That's it. This summer, new manager, and what was the response from the owners? Well, let's go into the season with Federico Chiesa, another left-sided forward, and not address midfield, not address centre-back, and not address the 3 contract extensions of the 3 best players at the club whose contracts are up at the end of the season. It is absolute insanity. And still, some people are like, oh yeah, they're great. I love John. I'm getting fed up with them. I'm done with it. It's just excuse after excuse, and people buy it. How do you buy it? Like, I don't get it. We tried to win the league. That's good enough for me, said Nim Knight. It's good enough for me. Do you know what, mate? If we actually really did try, and here's the thing, I'm fully behind Arne Slot. I'm fully behind the boys that are there. But I also know, and you know, and every Liverpool fan around the planet knows what we needed. We needed a centre-back, we needed a midfielder, and we didn't get them. And whatever happens this season, and it could be a great season, and I'm absolutely behind the team, it will be in spite of the cheap owners. Not because of them, in spite of them. Does that mean we have 200 million in the transfer kitty? Yeah, of course we do. But here's the thing, Mark. We have it, but hang on. I'm just going to use my Mystic Meg. Yeah. We're going to try to sign somebody and it won't happen. But they'll get the praise for it because they tried. They tried. I'm predicting the future there now, but I think I might be right. Who would want to come here when treat your legends like that? I don't know what's about, mate. And who's the legend that we're treating like that? He's talking about, I think he could be talking about the fact that the club aren't treating Mohamed Salah, Virgil and Trent correctly. And I'm with you. If that's where you're going with that, bro, I'm with you. It's mental. Like, how do you have Real Madrid sniffing around Trent and not give him a new deal? It's mental, like. It's absolute insanity. Mbappe stuff was 2022, not this summer. So, again, this is where I get wound up, bro. I never said it was this summer. I never once said it was this summer. I said a story came out that said we tried to sign Mbappe previously for 200 million quid and it didn't come off. So again, bro, I'm always happy to be critiqued, but don't put words in my mouth because that is absolutely not what I said, sir. So Liverpool did confirm our Premier League squad, our list of players who are registered now and available to play in the Premier League. This is the squad in its entirety. Alisson Becker, Miroslav Jaros, Kelleher, Alexander-Arnold, Gomez, Kanade, Robertson, Chimicus, Van Dijk, Endo, Gravenberch, Hill, Jones, McAllister, Morton, Soboslai, Chiesa, Diaz, Gakpo, Núñez, Salah and Jota. Also, we have an under-21 list that includes Bradley, Elliott, Kwanzaa and Leone. So they are Liverpool's registered players for this season's Premier League campaign. And fingers crossed that we can keep the injuries to a minimum. And I do applaud Arne Slot for the way he's gone about trying to manage players' minutes already at this point of the season. I've been fully behind those early substitutions of Trent and Robbo because the games were won at that point. And I just think it's good man management, quite frankly. Nope, wrong one. This one. I tried to get in bed with Mila Kunis, said Alan Farella's mind. I know, mate, but you won't get the credit for that. But there you go. You tried. That's a great squad, said Michael Doherty. Again, Michael, I'm right there with you, mate. Our squad is not too bad at all, sir. The problem is the drop-off if we pick up a couple of injuries, right? So, we think midfield is stacked. And if you look at it right now, Harvey Elliott's out for a while, so we're going to have him for the next 4 to 6 weeks. We know that the manager doesn't really fancy the way Wataru Endo plays in the team, so he's never going to be a preferred option to come in and play, in my opinion. He's going to be an if we're stuck option. So you've got Jones then as a possible replacement in there. Other than that, I think we're already starting to look a little bit short. Trainee only should be allowed to develop in his own time and not rushed in if we need him. And I just feel like we're still short. I do. I just feel like one injury at centre-back, for instance, and it could be a tricky campaign for us already as we move into this period of the season where we've got 2 games a week coming up. How long is McAllister out for? He's not out, Andrew. No, he's not out, bro. So he played the first game with Argentina. Then the reports coming out of Argentina was that he had an abductor strain. I think he didn't train for a day or so. Then he came back into the squad. He was replaced, I think, with Paredes at the very last minute in the game, their second international game. But he did come off the bench and play, I think it was about 20-25 minutes. And has since reported back for training yesterday, if my memory is right. So, yeah, he's not injured, which is good news. Mohamed Ahmed said contract renewal. Absolutely. This is one thing I think probably unites all of us Liverpool fans right now is it's very difficult to figure out what's going on with the contract stuff. Mohamed Salah's representative, Rami Abbasisa, took to social media yesterday to kind of rubbish any of the reports that are saying sources close to Mohamed say X, Y, Z. Doesn't really matter. He's saying there is no sources close to Mohamed. I am Mohamed Salah's source, and so is Mohamed Salah. And if there's something to say, basically, they'll say it. So I don't know if that's a good sign that maybe Liverpool are speaking with Mohamed Salah. I certainly hope that's the case. I think we can all agree that he started the season magnificently well. And if he continues up this form, there's no sign of him aging and dropping away. So fingers crossed the club can figure that out. Then, of course, we've got the Virgil van Dijk situation where you've got Virgil saying that he'd like to stay at the club. Hopefully that can be figured out. But the one that's just simply inexcusable is Trent. It is, unless Trent's already told the club that he wants to move on, which I've not seen a report of yet, the idea that he hasn't been given a contract offer yet from the club, it reeks of stupidity, and I can't understand it. What have we got? I felt like Gravenberch was an extra squad player last year. This year feels like our season hangs on his performances. Crazy shift, said Zach. So, it is, Zach. I feel like tonight's going to be the night where we lose the 1,000 like streak that we've had, because we haven't even got 1,000 people watching at the minute. So, I don't think we're going to be able to keep up that streak. But if you haven't hit the like button, please take a second and hit it for us. Yeah, Gravenberch has been fantastic since he started this season. I believe he got glowing praise as well for his performances during the international break with the Netherlands. And look, hopefully Arne Slot can continue to evolve Ryan Gravenberch into the player that we're seeing right now. He's tremendous. But my argument would be, let's say for argument's sake, we got Zubimendi in. Imagine being able to have this game at the weekend, then AC Milan, and being able to rest up one of the boys, be it Gravenberch or Zubimendi, and play the other over the course of a long, hard season with more international breaks, games coming thick and fast. I feel like that could stand us in better stead. So I am a little bit worried that as good as Ryan has been, and I think we can all say he's been brilliant, again, as you said, one injury, and then things look very different. The road to 300k subs is on. Please hit like and subscribe to Coach Bill. Thank you, Bill. So I have set myself a little target to try and get to 300,000 subscribers before Christmas. So if you haven't subscribed, folks, please do. Craig, would you want Zubi now that he snubbed us? So it's a difficult question, because initially I was all like, a bitter fella who'd been dumped, I was like, nah, feck him, don't want them. But honestly, if he changed his mind and he wanted to come to the club and he was absolutely sure about it, I don't see why not, in all honesty. I'm not going to judge anybody else for how they feel about it, but at first I was all like, nah, I don't want them near the club. You had your chance, mate, sorry. But it looks like it's a weird situation at Sociedad at the minute, because they've come out and said that he's not angling for a new contract. There's been no conversations about him getting a new contract. So it feels very strange. You know, like that he's going to stay there, 25 years of age, on about 60 grand a week, at a club that's going backwards. I don't know. It'll be an interesting January window to see if anything starts to come up, if Sociedad's poor season continues. I don't know. I don't know what the situation is, but I remember speaking with David Lynch before I went away and said to him, you know, would the club, do you think, be open to it if he changed his mind? And he said things were left on good terms, so absolutely possible. Happy late birthday. Thank you, Susie. And I meant to say that at the start of the stream, actually. Sorry. Thank you to everyone that sent loads of birthday wishes through to me. I was reading some of the comments on videos while I was away, and people emailed me and in our Discord group, and thank you. It's very kind of you for the birthday wishes. I appreciate it very much. Zach said, I 100% agree. More squad depth is needed. What else have we got in the chat? Mbappe under Klopp would be boss. Of course. Look, again, it would have been amazing. But what was weird about that Mbappe story was that it was basically admitted that if it had have happened, it would have been a short-term thing. So the story was written from the perspective of Liverpool would have signed him, were willing to pay €200 million, but there would have been a clause in there allowing Real Madrid to come in and buy him after a period of time, which I don't know how I would have felt about that. I mean, look, of course, having Mbappe for a couple of seasons, it would have been fun, but it doesn't speak to continuity. And I think continuity is important in football. You don't want somebody coming in, knowing that he's coming in for a couple of seasons, maybe upsetting the dressing room a little bit. It felt like a weird situation. If he came in and he was here for the long haul, you think, wow, this is awesome. But yeah, the story was apparently he was coming in. I think it was L'Equipe, a very credible French outlet who spoke about this. I think PSG have rubbished the story from their side, but we had to buy his contract out before leaving to Liverpool, said Mark. Which kit should I buy? Black or white? I love both, but can't afford. So, I guess it's a personal taste, Sonder. I have the black one, and I really like it. The white one looks really nice as well, if you can get past the upturned tick, which I can't, but it is a nice kit. So, I guess it's a personal choice, bro. I can say to you, as somebody who owns the black one, it's a nice kit. If you could sign one realistic centre-back, who would it be? Antonio Silva or Jared Branthwaite. They would be the two right now. If I was Liverpool, I'd be looking at. Look, Branthwaite, of course, getting out of Everton is going to be difficult. But, you know, these are the calibre of players I would have liked to have seen. I would have loved to have seen, actually, as well, who the two centre-backs or who the centre-back options that Liverpool were unable to commit to come to the club were. Because that's interesting as well. It's all very well and good seeing a report that said Liverpool couldn't sign their top targets at centre-back, but who were they? That's one thing I would like to know. Is the player edition worth it? I mean, I would say no. Absolutely not. I mean, football jerseys are too expensive as they are, so I wouldn't advise somebody to buy the player edition. And my wife said to me when she was in the shop looking at the black kit, because that's the one she bought, she actually thought that the stadium version looked better in person than the player kit. But again, it's a personal choice, isn't it? So we do have some fixture updates that have been changed as well that I want to let you guys know about. And thank you, Mark, for sending this on to me. So Liverpool against Aston Villa is Saturday, November the 9th. But it's an 8 p.m. kickoff. So Aston Villa play in the Champions League on the Wednesday. So TNT Sports pick this game, but they can't make the 12:30 slot. So our game against Aston Villa is now going to be an 8 p.m. kickoff on Saturday, November the 9th. Southampton away, Liverpool will be playing Sunday, November 24th. It's a 2 p.m. kickoff, and that game is going to be on Sky Sports. Sunday, December the 1st, Liverpool will be playing Manchester City on Sky Sports with a 4 p.m. kickoff. So, again, you can see there, I think that one's been moved by half an hour once again. I don't know what difference this half hour seems to make, but when we play either of the Manchester clubs lately on a Sunday, They seem to be 4 p.m. kickoffs and not 4:30 kickoffs. So a bit of an update anyway. So Mark reckons that the Branthwaite deal might be a little bit easier. Only 12 of Everton players as of right now have more than a year left on their contract. Wow, that is that's mental actually. White one would be perfect if it wasn't for the Nike tick, said Ben. I agree, Ben. Look, I love why they're doing it. I love that they're doing it to highlight the growth in women's sport and in particular women's football. Fully behind that. I just don't like the look of the Nike tick turned upwards. I feel like there could probably be been a better way to celebrate it, because I actually had to go out of my way to find out what that upturned tick was about rather than it being really in our face and advertised. So I don't think anybody has any problem trying to highlight the growth in women's sport and in women's football. Not at all, but it just doesn't look nice on the shirt. Thanks for playing on the Wednesday, Villa. I felt that way as well, Ben. When I seen that it was moved because Villa were playing on the Wednesday, it was nice. I mean, an 8 p.m. Saturday game against Aston Villa, that's going to be nice. That's going to be fun. I look forward to that one. So, Dutch footballer, Anko Janssen, claims that he's spoken to Arne Slot about his experience so far at Liverpool Football Club, and he claims that he's been amazed by Virgil van Dijk. Arne Slot said he's now experiencing him up close and said this boy is not normal when it comes to playing football. So that only adds to my frustration, my friends, that we haven't thrown a contract in front of Virgil, Mohamed and Trent. If Arne Slot has gotten up close and personal with Virgil, working with him on the training ground, seeing how he works up close, and he's singing his praises, what are we waiting for? It's madness. And I don't care again what anybody else says behind the scenes or whatever. Players have to be thinking, am I really valued? Do they really want me here? Especially if you're Trent. It just seems... It's really worrying, the Trent situation, because the more it drags on, the more we all get scared. We all hope and want Trent to sign a new deal. But, you know, Madrid are hovering around. Every week that goes by, they're going to feel more emboldened. They're going to be getting in his ear as we get closer to the January transfer window, which, remember, in January, Trent, Virgil and Mohamed can sign pre-contract agreements to leave Liverpool at the end of the summer once it's with a club outside the Premier League, and there's nothing we can do about it. It's worrying, and they need to get their finger out and get it sorted. Harvey Elliott deserves to start tomorrow. He's got a broken foot, Yusuf. He's out for 4 to 6 weeks with a fractured foot. A fractured foot. So he won't be playing, unfortunately, mate. Arne Slot did say though, Yusuf, that if Harvey had been fit, he probably would have gotten a lot of game time over the coming period, because the games are coming every 2-3 days at this point. We're playing twice a week between now and the October international break. Joseph said, who is the ref for the game tomorrow? Michael Oliver is the referee for the game tomorrow, mate. No, I didn't say 46 weeks. I said 4 to 6 weeks. So between 4 and 6 weeks. Nimnoy said, Madrid also has the Raging Jude whispering in Trent's ears during the international break. Absolutely, mate. It's worrying. It's worrying. Look, I can see the point that maybe they wanted to see what Slot was like. I get that. But now it just becomes worrying that we're not seeing these things sorted out. And I know that everyone keeps reporting that the club are calm about this, blah, 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 but it doesn't look great. It just doesn't look great whichever way you look at it. It's a distraction that doesn't need to be there. Clarity on these situations would, I guess, remove a lot of anxiety for Liverpool fans. Even if that is going to be a worst case scenario that we don't particularly like the outcome of, I'd like to know what's happening. I'm sure you guys would as well. David, missed you guys too, mate. Thank you. Really appreciate that. It's lovely to be back with you all tonight. It's Yeah, it's always weird, these international breaks, when I'm away and I'm not streaming. I miss everybody a lot. Shocking that the contracts are not sorted. It is, Alex. It is. It's baffling to me, bro. And you know, I can only say the same things over and over again. Particularly the one with Trent. That's the one that really concerns me. Now, some good news, according to Pipe Sierra, are the talks between Liverpool and Luis Diaz will resume over a new contract this season. The club obviously very impressed with how Luis Diaz has started the campaign. He's on a relatively low wage. I think he's on something like 60 grand a week or something like that. So if he continues up the form he's in, I can't blame the club for trying to tie him down to a new deal. So let's wait and see what happens there. Hopefully that gets sorted out. I think he certainly deserves a pay rise from what he's on. I'm looking forward to the battle between himself and Cody Gakpo this season to see who wins that battle for that left-hand side. It's been Luis Diaz's position since the season started. Again, I feel Cody will get his opportunity over the next couple of games, and up to him to see if he can force his way back into the starting 11. How did Salah not get nominated for the Ballon d'Or? The Ballon d'Or has become a bit weird, Yusuf, in my opinion, in recent years, mate. And I've stopped paying attention to it, really, to be honest with you. Because I don't understand how some of the players who've been omitted from it aren't in it. When some of the players that are in it, as an example, you just scratch your head and go, how? If we do lose Salah, I think replacing him will be possible as of now. Even somebody like Rodrigo wouldn't fully replace him, so we don't know what to do. It's absolutely shocking. At this point, I agree. You know, all I've always said about Mohamed Salah is you cannot allow him to leave for free. And now we're at the point where it's either a new deal or he leaves for free. Because he's not going to agree to a sale in January. Why would Liverpool want to mess up their season as well? And whatever anybody says, whatever any channel, podcast, website says, these things are a distraction. They are. Rather than talking about the game and football, we're all worrying about whether three of our better players are still going to be here next season because nobody has offered them a new deal. And that's, to me, what it boils down to. You can talk about what the players want or whatever, but the players can't refuse anything until they're offered something. And if you're not offering somebody a contract, what can they do about it? They're not going to come in and say, here's my contract, I've drawn it up, what do you think? It's up to the club. The onus is on the club to get these deals sorted out. Also, while I was away, I'm sure you've seen this, but Rio Nyamoha was unveiled as officially a Liverpool signing. He will be wearing, for the under-18s, just before anybody jumps on me, the number 11 shirt. And there was also an image of him as a youngster wearing a Liverpool shirt that came out as well. So welcome, Rio Nyamoha, to the greatest football club on earth, mate. Lovely to have you at the club. And hopefully he's a big hit over the years to come. Scouser said, do you think Darwin will start against Forest? I put him in my starting 11, mate, for my preview that came out this morning. I'll tell you how excited I was to get back making content. We got in from the airport last night at about 3:30 in the morning. And by 10 to 4, that video was waiting for Connor, uploaded, ready to go for the morning. That's how excited I was to get back recording content. So my predicted starting 11 for the game does have a few changes in it. So I went for Alisson, Trent, Kwanzaa, Van Dijk and Gomez at left back, because I think giving Robbo a bit of a breather before AC Milan wouldn't be the worst idea. Then I went for Gravenberch, Szoboszlai and Maka, so an unchanged midfield. And up top, I put Gakpo on the left, Mohamed Salah on the right, and as you've suggested, I went for Darwin Núñez through the centre, because he wasn't on an international break. He didn't go away with Uruguay because he's suspended for 5 games. From the international side only, I should point out. So he's going to have had a chance to talk with the manager, work with the manager, and get up to speed. So I think it could be the right time now to give Darwin an opportunity, particularly at home as well, and see what he can do. You know, Diogo started the season very well, but we're going to have to start rotating players now as the games come thick and fast, and Darwin needs to get up to speed. Thoughts on Mbappe nearly joining in 2022? So, my thoughts are this, Jay. Nearly isn't worth anything, is it, mate? You know, nearly signing Caicedo isn't going to help us. Nearly signing Bellingham isn't going to help us. Nearly signing Mbappe isn't going to help us. What's going to help us is getting them over the line. So these stories to me always seem very suspect, that off the back of a really underwhelming transfer window where we did not do the business that we were expected to do and that we needed to do, and the owners turned a profit, we then start hearing stories about Liverpool looking for 2 centre-backs moving forward. Liverpool almost signing Kylian Mbappe in 2022 for 200 million. It stinks to me, mate. Because it's the same every window. It always happens. They don't do their job in the window. Fans get a little bit uppity about it. And then the FSG propaganda machine kicks into gear and all these crappy stories start to come out about nearlies and promises of a bright future. And I'm just not buying it anymore because it doesn't mean anything. Signing the players is what matters. Failure is just that, failure. So if anything, they should be embarrassed that this stuff is coming out, because it shows once again that we either don't have the pulling power of these owners or that we just can't attract these players, because nearlies are just that, nearly. Craig, do you believe Salah accepted the Saudi offer last season? So, obviously, I don't really know the ins and outs of that situation, but Mr. Turki Al-Sheikh, who I'm sure you guys know from his impact in the boxing world and Saudi sport in general, he was on Ariel Helwani's podcast and they were speaking about boxing and what was happening in Saudi and on all the other stuff. And it happened to come up on that podcast, and Ariel Helwani, who's an incredible journalist, asked Mr. Al-Sheikh, do you know much about the Mohamed Salah situation? And I'm kind of paraphrasing here because I don't remember it word for word. But Mr. Turki Al-Sheikh said something along the lines of, as far as I know, the player was willing to make the move, but Liverpool weren't willing to sell. That's all I can say, mate. Because this guy is a powerful man in Saudi sports. And if he's going out and saying that he believes the player was willing to make the move, you know, it's not just some fella on Twitter saying it. It's a pretty prominent guy. But then again, we haven't heard from Mohamed Salah on this. So, you know, the truth is I don't know. Craig, thoughts on Ireland against England and Greece? I mean, come on, mate. You know my answer to that. It was crap. Look, England thoroughly deserved their victory. Were streets ahead of us. It wasn't even close. Only for Kelleher, who knows. The Greece game is the one that really frustrated me, particularly as an Irish fan. You know England have better quality. England shouldn't be in Nations League Group B. They should be up there in Group A or in League A. So I was expecting to get a beat by England. And at half time I was worried that it could have gone to 4 or 5. So look, Ireland are just not at it. The whole football system and pyramid in Ireland and the FAI, look, long story. Our manager isn't good enough. The players don't look confident, to say the least. And as I said, England thoroughly deserved their victory. The Greece game was a shambles. It's just not good enough. You know, maybe I was spoiled growing up because I was around for Italia 90 and USA 94 and Japan, South Korea 2002. And I remember Irish teams being way more competitive. But right now, it is a tough time to be an Irish fan of football and look at the international team, because it's just crap. And it's just a shambles from start to finish. And do you know what? I'm also really annoyed that John O'Shea didn't get given the job. I think John O'Shea deserved a crack at it. I think he came in and helped the FAI and the Football Association when they needed somebody, a steady hand, and then they go and bring in somebody who wasn't good enough for Jamaica. The guy who was sacked by Jamaica was given the job as Ireland manager. An Icelandic dentist. I mean, yeah, it's not great. David Harrison said, forget the nearly BS. It's what we expect now. Roll on tomorrow and another win. Made up, the international crap is done. Up the Reds. I'm buzzing, David. Like yourself, mate. I can't wait for the game back tomorrow. 3 p.m. kickoff. I'm expecting a win as well, to be honest with you. And If Arne Slot's side don't concede tomorrow, I think he's the first ever new manager to come in and not concede a goal, or maybe the first ever manager to not concede a goal in his first 4 Premier League games. But let's wait and see. What's this Mark sent to me? Don't know if you remember when I did the predictions with the Irish guy on his channel, but I currently top his league table. Nice. Sweet, that's nice. I was just happy to do it for Mark, to be honest with you. I very much like Michael Ramsey, aka the Irish guy, and when he asked me to do the predictions for him, more than happy to do it because he's a nice fella. David, how are you, mate? Said, the FAI boils my blood. I now identify as Spanish. Mate, it's a shambles, isn't it? You know, from the John Delaney period all the way through, there just hasn't been the investment in the infrastructure, the coaching. It's just not good enough from start to finish. The FAI, it's just not fit for purpose, in my opinion. And Irish football has been ran into the ground. Craig, how will you be watching tomorrow's game as it's not on Sky? It is in Ireland, mate. It's on Premier Sport, so thankfully I'll be able to watch the game over here in Ireland. But you know my take, if it's not on TV, I have my Spanish DAZN account and they show every Premier League game, so I'm always covered to watch the games one way or the other. But tomorrow it is on Premier Sport in Ireland, so I'm lucky enough that I'll be able to watch it as part of my sports package. Would I take Martin O'Neill as manager? He always sounded very intelligent. We already had him as manager for Ireland. And the style of football wasn't great, to be honest with you. I like Martin O'Neill. I really do. Style of football wasn't great. So, no, I wouldn't. How much is Spanish DAZN? I believe it's $29.99 a month. It's gone up this year. It used to be a little bit cheaper, but I think now it's $29.99 a month. Ryan deserves so much praise for his outstanding performances at youth at both national and club level. He's a vital aspect of this new Slot era. Looking forward to seeing him cook United, for years to come. He's been brilliant, mate, since he's come in this season and deserves all the all the plaudits and all the credit that comes his way. He's been incredible. Yeah, really, really good. And I know this probably seems a little bit spoiled, but I can't help but think, imagine him and Zubimendi pushing each other for that starting position, or Arne Slot having the luxury of being able to rotate in between the two of them, or even moving Gravenberch a little bit further forward at times, and just being able to rest McAllister or Szoboszlai. It just feels like, you know, it's great that Ryan's done really well. But as somebody pointed out at the start of the stream, an injury there, and all of a sudden we're back to trying to fill square pegs with round holes, or vice versa. Will I be watching the boxing tomorrow night? Yes, and then I'll be watching the AJ fight as well, obviously when that comes up in, a week and a bit's time. So, yeah, any boxing that's on TV, mate, I'll be watching. Any chance Chiesa playing? So, again, Mui's John, I'm just guessing, bro. Or, is it John? Johan, I'm just guessing because I think we'll see him off the bench. I don't expect him to start tomorrow because he hasn't had any minutes this season of any football. I think introducing him off the bench, let's say we're a couple of goals ahead or something with 15 to go, bring off Mohamed Salah, let him get a standing ovation, welcome on Federico Chiesa in front of a happy Anfield, and just give him that moment of welcome to the club. That's what I think will happen, but, you know, who knows? Maybe we'll get a surprise. I think if you were going to start him then, perhaps away against AC Milan in the Champions League, a team in a league that he knows, that might be a better fit. What happened with the Logan Paul-Mike Tyson fight? So I don't know if anything has happened since the original one where Mike Tyson was unwell. I think he picked up an injury that delayed the fight. I think it's supposed to be November or December. You know, I don't really care about the Mike Tyson Logan Paul part of it. It's the Katie Taylor Amanda Serrano part of it that I'm interested in. Ryan said, good evening, welcome back, Craig. We missed you, looking good. Thank you. I feel refreshed relaxed and ready to go after a nice week away. Lee said, I use a VPN and subscribe to Peacock in America, $8 a month, and it shows all the Premier League games, including all the 3 p.m. Saturday games. Cool. Is that true? That's incredible value if that's the case. We might need to look into that for next season. Weirdly, when we set up the Spanish DAZN account, we didn't use a VPN. Don't ask me how Connor did it because I don't know. But we don't have to use a VPN when we use it. But that sounds incredibly cheap, mate. $8 for all the 3 p.m. games? Wow. I always thought that Peacock was an add-on to another sports package. And I'm almost certain they don't show every 3 p.m. game. But, I'm not in America, so maybe I'm wrong. Mike said Peacock is great. Peacock does not show every game, not the app at least, said Cam. Anthony said love Peacock. Peacock is great this year, said Kyle. Cool. Look, so again, maybe that's something I need to look into. I don't know, but nice. Peacock, £8 a month. I mean, certainly cheaper than the £30 a month for the Spanish DAZN anyway. David said you need to use a VPN to register for foreign DAZNs. No, I'm again, mate, I'm being honest and saying we didn't use a VPN when we set it up. I know 100% we didn't use a VPN when we set it up because we tried to use a VPN when we set it up and it said, it looks like you're using a VPN, so Connor found another way to do it. And I think it was the payment method that allowed us to do it somehow, the way we paid for it or some. I don't know, but I know we didn't use a VPN and I know I don't use a VPN when I use it. Tilsheen said, nice tan, Craig, looking healthy. Yeah, I feel a lot healthier. I always feel good with a bit of sun on the old noggin, so thank you. IPTV shows every game. It does, but I just don't find it consistent enough, mate. And it's also even further behind. You're usually a minute to 90 seconds behind everyone, and that's not really good when you're trying to do watch-alongs and stuff. Craig, it shows half of the games. It's hit or miss if Liverpool is shown. Cool. Well, look, as I said, I don't mind paying the Spanish DAZN each month. We used to use a Canadian DAZN account, but Canada changed over to, I can't remember the name of the new service that they use in Canada. It's not DAZN anymore that's showing the Premier League games. It's somebody in the chat will know. I can't remember what the name of it is, but it isn't DAZN anymore. I think Telemundo might show all of them. Cool. Look, as I said, we're quite happy with the DAZN one that we use anyway, because if it's not on Sky Sports or TNT or Premier Sports, Fubo, that's the one, mate. Yes, thank you. Fubo's the one I was thinking of. Let me just check back through my notes as well. So, a bit of breaking news around Liverpool's future kits. Adidas 2025-26 away kit colours have been leaked apparently, and the away shirt looks like it's going to be a Wonder White, which is kind of like an off-white with a bit of black and a little red on it. So people who were happy with that kind of off-white Nike away shirt a few seasons ago might be very happy with this. And it looks like they're also going to use the older full logo, full club crest, on one of the kits as well, according to some reports. So, who's this one that was talking? What's his name? Christian Falk was speaking on his FC Bayern Insider podcast, and he said, apart from Manchester City, Liverpool also want to sign Dutch forward Xavi Simons. Again, I find this very hard to believe because he was available this summer. I think PSG wanted to sell him, and they still don't want him in the longer term by the looks of it. So I find it hard to believe that if we wanted him, we wouldn't have gone for him, but I guess time will tell. Liverpool need to be Adidas, said David Newell. All my best kits. I love it, mate. I can't wait. Imagine being able to get those retro kits from like 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 92, 94. those kits, being able to get them with the proper Adidas badge on them, it'd be amazing. Some of the concept kits, said Nomad, I've seen on Twitter, make me so happy. Yeah, I've said this for years, mate. Some of the designers on social media that do these concept kits, some of them are absolutely incredible. I mean, the amount of times that I've sent into my Discord group and said, take my money. Like, I would happily buy some of these kits. I would love if every year, if one of the 3 kits for the club was somehow voted for by a designer outside of Nike or Adidas or something like that. If the club kind of, I guess, did a poll or something like that where club members or season ticket holders or somebody, you could vote for one of the 3 kits every year to be a fan-led kit or something like that. It would be amazing. David said, if Adidas start doing Adidas Originals for Liverpool, then I might go broke. David, as you know, sir, if you watch this channel for a long time, which you have, I am an unashamed Adidas fanboy. And I wear Adidas all the time. So I'm going to be like you, mate. When Adidas come back to Liverpool next year, I'm probably going to end up broke. Kyle Agger said, I hope Adidas comes out swinging with a banger of a kit. Yeah, look, it's just going to be great to have them back. I know that the relationship between Liverpool and Adidas didn't end on great terms when the last one happened, but it just feels right having Adidas back with Liverpool. Nike's never felt right for me. I really did like New Balance when they were kit manufacturers, but I've not been a fan of anything about Nike since they've come to Liverpool. I found the crossover stuff very bland and poor. I don't like the LeBron stuff. If you want to see what's capable with Nike, just look at Paris Saint-Germain and the Air Jordan crossover. That is how you sell kit to fans, because that stuff's incredible. The stuff that we've gotten, I've got to be honest, maybe 20% of it I've liked, and the rest of it I've just thought being poor or copy and paste. Have I taken the black kit out of the wardrobe? Yeah. Yes, Dave, I wore it in Spain. I was wondering if someone was going to ask me that, but yes, I brought it on holidays with me and I wore it in Spain twice. So yes, it has now been worn. Pranav, how are you, mate? Lovely to see you back in. Let me just grab this comment up on screen for you, my friend. So Pranav said, Forest will sit very deep in a low block. Núñez won't have the space to make runs in behind. Think Jota's clever movement might suit us more tomorrow. Again, it's a fair point that you've raised, Pranav, but he's going to have to learn to play against a low block. And again, if Darwin Núñez is going to be that guy for Liverpool, then a lot of the time when we are playing at home, like you've correctly pointed out, we're going to play against a team that will sit deep and will try to block and will try to frustrate us. And it is up to him to figure it out, whether that's using his aerial strength or whether that's being able to find pockets of space to attack. He's going to have to figure it out. We can't keep saying... And look, I know you're not trying to make excuses for him. I'm just saying that he's going to have to figure it out in the Premier League. And at home against Forest, he should be bullying them, in my opinion. You know, you won't hear anybody saying, well, Haaland might struggle here against the low block against Man City. No, he just goes and bangs in goals and just makes it happen. Mark said Adidas need to put the trefoil on the kits and not the 3 stripes. Yes, it's way better. The Manchester United one, and I think Arsenal have one this year as well, with the proper trefoil Adidas logo, is way better. I'm totally with you on that one. It looks mint. Mark said I've wore that shirt twice more than Everton have points. Yeah. And I was seeing, I don't know if it was I think it was one of the lads from Toffee TV or something like that, was on Sky Sports, and I think he was talking about Sean Dyche and saying that, down to him anyway, and of course, look, everyone's entitled to their opinions. He said that it's down to Sean Dyche more than anything that Everton have been terrible this season, and that his tactics aren't good enough, and his players aren't focused enough. And he basically said, I don't know, I get his point to some extent, but all in all, Everton is just they're in a very difficult place at the minute. Last season, I had some sympathy. I didn't want them to go down after a points deduction. If they go down this season, it'll be because maybe it's caught up with them over a really bad period for that football club. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I mean, there's a potential new owner coming in there. Obviously, they have the new stadium at Bramley-Moore Dock coming up from next season. I know Everton fans won't want to start off life in that stadium in the Championship, so they're going to have to start picking up points soon. And for the city of Liverpool, I've always said, of course we have our rivalries, and on match days we want to batter the Blues and vice versa, but I think it's great for the city that they have the tourism and they have two clubs in the Premier League, and it would be a shame if Everton ended up out of the Premier League, but again, they'd only kind of have their own leadership to blame there. David said, only bad thing about Adidas is the lack of originality in goalkeeper kits in recent years. I would say, as you said, same for most kits. Look at Nike, mate. Alisson Becker's goalkeeper kit this season, you'll see that England, I think not Joe Hart. I think Pickford wears it for England, pretty much the same kit, and I'm sure I've seen some other goalkeepers with it as well. Yeah, when you supply a kit to a club like Liverpool, Real Madrid, Manchester United, Barcelona, these clubs, they don't deserve copy and paste kits. You know, you're trying to sell one of the biggest brands in football. You deserve to have decent, made for that club kits. I'm with you on that. All of these manufacturers need to pull their socks up and stuff like that, because it's just lazy, and fans know it, fans see it, and with that and the price of the kits becoming as expensive as they are, I think they're all just starting to take the piss a little bit, to be honest. Do you think Liverpool could get a pink jersey at some point? Feels like a statement piece. We've had a pink goalkeeper's jersey. Definitely remember a few pink ones over the years. Look, I actually like pink, weirdly enough. So if Liverpool bought a pink shirt, I'd probably buy a pink shirt as long as it was decent enough shirt. Stephen Rosca, how are you, my friend? So Craig, I've just arrived in Liverpool and start university on Monday. Between you and I thought I'm missing a day since I'm heading to Milan for the game on Tuesday. Well in, mate. Enjoy. I hope you have a great trip over to Milan. And I hope you're coming to see us in November, Stephen, in Liverpool. As you can see, we are going to be in Liverpool at the Hot Water Comedy Club, November 15th. About half the tickets are sold already. So if you want to come and see us, you can get your ticket with a link pinned to the top of the chat or in the description of this stream. They're all ages events, meaning they're open to everybody to come along, and we're going to put on one hell of a show. We're going to have Mr. Paddy Doyle performing the music on the night, then we're going to have Carl Porter doing another stand-up set, and then of course yours truly will take to the stage as well and hopefully bring it home. What are your thoughts on Cole Palmer? I don't really have too many, because he's nothing to do with us. You know, he's a good footballer, and what he's doing at Chelsea is commendable, but you know, he's not a Liverpool player, so I don't really think too much about him, to be honest with you, Yusuf. Anthrop said Connor's head in the way of mine on that pick. It was lovely meeting you, by the way, Anthrop, at that show. So myself and Anthrop were introduced by Lee Gunner, who's a mutual friend of both of ours, and it was lovely to meet you at the show, mate. Gakpo reckons contracts aren't an issue. Yeah, cool story, bro, but they are. You know, you're entitled to your opinion on it. I'm not going to try and shout you down about it, but they are an issue. They absolutely are. When you've allowed three of the best players at your club to get into a position where they could walk away for nothing at the end of the year, do you know what? Let's put it to a poll, mate. It's all very well and good me and you going back and forth about it, but let's ask that exact question to the chat and see what the chat says. That way, you know, you and I don't have to go back and forth on it. We can put it to the community and ask what they think. So bear with me while I just type this one out, because I've got to move the keyboard in. Right, so I've just asked, are the contract renewals an issue? Kind of as you've written them there. So let's see. Let's see what the community thinks, mate. I believe you're going to be incorrect, but let's wait and see what happens. You said they won't leave. You don't know that. None of us can say that. I can't say they will leave, and I can't say they won't leave, mate, because we truly don't know. But it is an issue, and you said they weren't an issue. Not that they wouldn't leave. It is an issue. But again, let's wait and see what the poll says. Adzer, how are you, mate? Said, how's the form? Hope you had a lovely break. I think we desperately need to get 3 contracts sorted. I would agree, sir. Look, I can understand the Virgil and Mohamed Salah ones to some extent. You have to take into account, obviously, their age, and maybe the club wanted to see how they started the season and how their form went, and see if there's any drop-off from the underlying stats and stuff like that. I'm not saying it's right, but at least you can maybe grasp a reason why they've looked at those two and thought, maybe we'll let this one go a little bit later. The Trent one is the one that I just can't see any excuse for that being anything other than ridiculous, that it's got to this situation where Trent hasn't been offered a new deal. It's madness. 25 years of age, in his prime, your club's vice captain, a local fella, and you're basically, again, I feel like it's basically saying to him, well, we're not that fussed. You know, you're not that big a priority for us. I mean, if I'm Trent, you can't say you're going to be feeling the love right now, right? Salah and Van Dijk were always going to be difficult given their age, the cost of the contract, how long it should be, will they accept a payout, etc., etc. I get it, Mark, yeah. Like, I would like to see both of them given a 2-year extension with the option of a third. Ideally, the club having that option to trigger the third if the club would like to do it. With regards to wages, I would have to say, again, being honest, I would struggle to talk about a pay rise for either of them. I think with Mohamed Salah, maybe you could incentivise a little bit more, but I don't really want to see the club move too far off that 350 grand a week wage. Virgil, I think he's somewhere around 200 grand a week at the minute. Again, I'd be struggling to talk about a pay rise there in all honesty, because he's had best years of his contract or best years of his career, and as much as they're still a really big part of our team and a really important part of our team, you'd be a liar if you said their best years weren't behind them. So for me, if they could stay on the same money for 2 years with an option of a third, I'd be delighted with that. With Trent, there is going to be a pay rise in this one because, well, you've stupidly let it get to the point where he now has suitors elsewhere in Real Madrid, the current reigning European champions, and he could probably earn a load of dough over there. So I just think the club have shit the bed with the Trent stuff. Even if we get it sorted, I feel like they're going to end up paying more than maybe they would have had to if they had it sorted this a year ago. Van Dijk's the second best defender in Premier League history behind JT. Absolutely criminal that we've not signed him up to a new contract, said David. Trent and Salah also need to stay. I would imagine all of us want all of them to stay. Everybody, I would imagine, in the chat right now. I'd even go as far as to say I don't think anybody in the chat would have an argument about a 2-year extension for Virgil and Mo. And with Trent, 4 to 5 years. Whatever you can. With Trent, it's whatever you can get him to commit to, basically. If he gets a 4-year deal, give it to him. If he wants a 5-year deal, give it to him. But allowing him to get to this position, it just... I don't care what any of the media or the FSG side think. It is not a good look. It is not a good look that Trent hasn't got given a new contract offer. Be realistic, Trent won't leave on a free. Why? It's arrogance to think he won't leave on a free. And I'm not saying for you, I mean just in general. Michael Owen left the club to go to Real Madrid, and we got minimum money for him, but at least we got some. Steve McManaman left the club to go to Real Madrid, and there's nothing to say Trent won't look around, think to himself, I've won the Premier League, I've won the Champions League, they're not offering me a new deal yet. My mate, Jude Bellingham, has just gone to Real Madrid and won the Champions League and is up for a Ballon d'Or. Why wouldn't he be tempted? Like, it's not just any old club here, mate. You're talking about Real Madrid, the most successful club in European football history. You have to at least be open to the idea that it would be tempting to him. And if we can get to the point where it could be tempting to him, Trent looks up to Gerrard. And? What's your point? Gerrard didn't leave because he knew winning a trophy at Liverpool would mean more than winning 4 or 5 at Chelsea. But he also never won a Premier League. Trent won't have FOMO because he's won everything. Trent won't look back and go, I wonder what it would have been like to win a Premier League with Liverpool, because he's done it. He's won a European Cup, 2 league, well, he's won multiple things. He's won the Club World Cup, League Cup, FA Cup, everything he can win. So I don't buy into that. It's, I think it's just optimism that has you saying he won't leave. We don't know that. He hasn't come out and said he's not going to leave. There hasn't been one thing to come out to say that he is 100% wanting to stay at Liverpool. We all hope he does, but I just personally feel it's a dangerous game when you're relying on pulling on someone's heartstrings alone to keep them at the club. McManaman left, Owen left, Gerrard almost left. Big players, it's better to be pessimistic and get the job done and hope and be arrogant and think they'll stay. Andre, I agree, and I just think I don't understand how we allowed it to get to this point. Remember, our club is supposed to be known for being very clever, very good at keeping players once they're here and not allowing them to go. And yet, before this summer, 8 of the last 12 players that left the club left without a transfer fee. We are in a position, whether you want to admit it to yourself or not, where we could lose Trent for free. Nothing about that strikes me as clever or astute business or good decision making. None of it. Owen wrote an article saying that the club would definitely have held discussions around contracts. So Owen knows more, Mark, than Virgil van Dijk and Mohamed Salah, who have both said that they haven't had any. So because Michael Owen, the little turncoat that ran off to join Manchester United and Real Madrid, pulled out of his own arse that he thinks the club will have definitely held contract with him, we're supposed to take his word over the word of Virgil and Mohamed, who both said the club haven't talked to him about new deals. I know which one I'm believing. The players who are actually there right now and have said in front of camera that the club haven't started talking to them about a new deal. Do you know what I mean? Like, Mohamed literally said it on Sky, that this is his last year at the club and nobody has talked to him about a new deal yet. Virgil said the same thing. So whatever Michael McTurncoat wants to say, he can pull it out of his arse all he wants. But the facts of the matter are, the players themselves have already told us that the club haven't given them a new contract offer yet or started the negotiations. In fact, Virgil said they haven't had any discussions about it. So, you know, I'm dealing in facts here, not hypotheticals. Do you think the reason for the contract situation with all three is because FSG took their eye off the ball? I think it's, to say it's any one reason is probably being disingenuous, Mark. I think it comes down to a few things. Maybe FSG took their eye off the ball a little bit. Maybe the players wanted to see who the next manager was going to be once it was announced that Jurgen was leaving. Maybe then when they knew who the new manager was, they wanted to see what it was going to be like under Arne Slot, what the football was going to be like, what training was going to be like. Maybe they wanted to see how proactive the club were going to be in the transfer window and how determined to win silverware the club was. And maybe, and I think this is another part of it, maybe there's a bit of brinksmanship going on because nobody wants to be the first one to commit to the new deal, because then they're setting the bar of what's possible financially. So if you sit back, let's say you're Trent as an example, and you agree a deal for 200 grand a week or 250, let's say, and then a week later Virgil agrees a deal for 300, you're going to scratch your head going, did I leave money on the table there? Because you probably feel like you did, right? Any of us, it's natural. So I think, to be honest and fair about this whole conversation, probably a lot of factors went into the reason why these haven't been done. But it's still not a good look that it hasn't been. It's one thing if the club are trying to have these negotiations and players are like, no, not ready yet, don't want to. That's a different thing. But if the players are coming out like Virgil and Mohammed saying the club haven't spoken to them yet, I don't think that's a good look. Especially as somebody pointed out earlier on, these are players who have brought Liverpool back to the top level, won the Premier League, won the European Cup. They deserve to be treated with respect and they deserve to be offered deals befitting of their status. But of course, you don't want to overpay them either, so it is a balancing act. Yeah, so I've had enough of that Gakpo account and I'm not going in on people anymore. If people come in and are just being stupid or trying to bait us, you're just going to get removed and banned. So, yeah, again, as I said, I'm focusing on the people who are adding to their community, not the people who are coming in to try and drop a grenade in and run off. So, off you pop, mate, and go be somebody else's problem. Thank you. Cop09 said, I just don't see the point of the delay now. Replacing them is going to cost us a fortune rather than giving them a pay rise. So during the summer, we were told that, and again, to be fair on this, understandably, the club's priority during the summer was the transfer window and trying to bring in players. Now, we failed at that, but at least I can understand it. When the window closed, then you think, right, let's get straight into this, right? Let's get straight in to trying to sort out these contracts, because as January creeps up on us and we get a little bit closer to that window, as I've mentioned, these guys can sign pre-contract agreements to leave the club and then we're in trouble. So I hope that over the next few weeks, and it is just hope, we get news that these things are moving along, because, we've spoken about this ad nauseum on the channel and we all feel frustrated at the lack of contract renewals. Let's go back to the poll that we started with earlier on. Are the contract renewals an issue? And so far, 86% have said yes, they are an issue. So, again, 86% of people who are at least watching this stream feel a little bit anxious about the current situation with those contract renewals. I missed you so much. Excited for the game tomorrow. Thank you, Liam. I'm buzzing for it, mate. I can't wait for the Reds to be back in action. It's great. It is. We're going to be starting our watch along tomorrow from 2 o'clock as well, so I hope you guys can join us for that one. It's going to be fun. And then, of course, we've got AC Milan coming up on Tuesday, and we've got another game next weekend, and then we're in the following week. We've got the League Cup game against West Ham as well. So, we're going to lose our streak tonight, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, where we had 1,000 likes on, I think it was 15 or 16 live streams. So let's at least get us up to 500. The streak is going to be broken, but you know what? We can start a new streak from tomorrow. If you haven't, please do hit that like button for us. And of course, if you haven't subscribed, we'd love you to do that as well. I want to also just draw your attention really quickly down to the bottom corner of the screen. You can see a QR code alongside a little image. That is our Clips channel. Clips channel is gone over 33,000 subscribers at the minute. My dream is to get the Clips channel to get its own YouTube Silver Play button, which is 100,000 subscribers. So we're talking about the journey to 300k on the main channel. I'd love to start the journey to 100k on the Clips channel. If you haven't yet watched our Clips channel, we put up all the best bits from our longer streams. We put up some made for the Clips channel content as well, and our shorts and a few other bits and pieces go up on there. So if you can, please do go across and hit the subscribe button on the Clips channel. If you don't want to scan the QR code, you can always just search Anfield Agenda Clips. It's basically the reverse of the logo we use on here. That's red and white. The Clips channel one is white and red. Dave said it's not just these 3 contract renewals, there are other contracts that need to be sorted as well. Yep, Canade, Lucho, Dave, I think as well. And I think, look, they will be in hand, mate, but at least we've a little bit of breathing room on those ones. But with this one, yeah, we need to get the finger out and get these 3 lads sorted out. Danny said, what's your prediction for tomorrow? I went 3-1. Just because I think we're going to have to concede at some point, mate. So I hope it's a 3-0 or a 2-0 and another clean sheet. But yeah, I'm going 3-1 tomorrow. I have a feeling we're going to see a Virgil goal. Don't know why, I've just had that feeling all week. So 3-1 is what I'm going to stick with. Charlie Russ said, hope you had a good holiday, Craig. Do you think Slot had the potential to be as successful as Klopp? Oh, God. So, I'm going to have to caveat my answer a little bit, Charlie, by saying it'll depend on what happens with Manchester City. It will depend on the backing he gets from the owners. But I will say this. I believe he's capable of doing great stuff at Liverpool, because I really, truly believe he is a very, very good coach. And he's only impressed me since he's come to the club. I love his man management of resting the players, taking them off when the game's already won. I just like the way he's gone about his business, so I hope for success under him, because he's a very... I've been very impressed since he's come in. He's not Jurgen, he's a very different type of man. He's not as, I guess, emotionally led like Jurgen, but he's very matter of fact, he's very articulate, he's very tactically aware, and I'm really excited to see what Arne Slot can do at Liverpool. Dave said, hope we don't struggle with the low block tomorrow like we have in the past. Again, we just have to figure it out, mate, and try and steamroll these teams when they try and play a low block like City tried to do. Giants Gift said, Endo get a run soon. I would imagine so, sir, yes. We're going to have to utilise the squad. I know it's very tempting for us all when we're talking about our starting 11s or whatever to always just want to put the best 11 out there. And look, I'm as guilty of that as anybody at times, but I think we've seen under Arne Slot that we will see rotation and players rested, and Endo will have to get minutes at some point. I don't know when it's going to be. I don't know if we'll see it tomorrow or maybe in Milan, but yeah, I think it's time to start utilising that squad now, and this is where he'll really earn his crust as a manager, because you want him to change, but you don't want the drop off in performance, and especially the drop off in results. So it's a balancing act. I guess the more he gets to know the squad, who he can rely on, who he can trust against certain types of teams, it's going to be interesting. It is. It's going to be interesting to see. One of the things that I personally was a little bit disappointed at times with Jurgen was I felt like he was a little bit too... I don't want to say the word loyal, because that sounds unfair. I think he was a little bit too... Again, afraid isn't right. I wish he had have taken players off a little bit more and rested them when games are being won. Particularly the likes of Mohamed Salah. Maybe Virgil could do with a bit more rotation and rest. But you got to... I guess you got to just trust in your squad and not just your starting 11. So this is where, over the course of a really busy season, you know, these little details of when to rest and rotate and how to help prevent injuries could really help us out. Would I have Wirtz and Davies next season? I mean, look, of course. Not so much Davies. I mean, I wouldn't say no to Alphonso Davies, but I wouldn't put him in the same category of desire for me as Wirtz or Musiala, especially Jamal Musiala. I mean, wow. But I feel like it'll probably be Real Madrid for Wirtz if he moves. And I don't know about Musiala. I kind of get the feeling as long as Bayern are competitive, he'll probably stay there. And Bayern always want to keep the best German internationals as well at the club. David said, Craig, love watching your goalkeeper video you made. I also respect the fact that you weren't biased. Petr Cech is easily the best keeper in the league scene. And thank you for being honest in the video. No problem, mate. I always try to give my honest views on these things. It was difficult to leave out the likes of Courtois, but sometimes I look at longevity over the course of their careers. Other people felt maybe I was a bit too generous towards Shay Given. My argument would be he played over 400 Premier League games, always at a very high level, not at the very, very top echelons of the Premier League. When he was at Manchester City weren't the Manchester City they are now. When he was at Newcastle, again, they weren't as high-flying at times as they are at the moment, or as competitive as they are. And I just think he was incredibly good. So I feel it was a pretty balanced all-time top 10, but it is just a personal thing, and there is no right answer for these things. It's just whatever you liked, and I just gave my opinion on them. It died on its arse, I'll say that. These type of videos are fun to make, but you can see by the numbers, people didn't really have the interest to watch it, so I gotta balance these things out as well. But I liked making it, I did. Do I remember Jan Molby's long balls? Yes, Jan Molby was incredible. I mean, really, really, really thoroughly able to dictate a game from the middle of the park. His range of passing was phenomenal. Jan Molby was brilliant. Maybe a top 10 managers of all time. I'd certainly be up for making it, but somebody actually gave out to me in the comments, said, this is supposed to be Anfield Agenda. Why are you doing all-time best Premier League goalkeepers? And I just thought, it's the international break, dude. I'm trying to make a bit of content before I go on holidays. But yeah, I could do the managers, no problem. Kelleher's spitting the dummy. Some club offered less. He's not spitting the dummy. I think you're being very disrespectful there. Caoimhín Kelleher has been nothing but professional at Liverpool Football Club, mate. I'm sorry. Maybe this is the Irish side of me coming out because he's an Irish player, but I don't think how you can say he's spitting the dummy out. He's been honest and said that he has ambitions to become a number one. Wouldn't you in his position? He played half a season last year, won the League Cup when he was playing, never looked out of place, and yeah, nobody offered the money that the club wanted. And I discussed that earlier on tonight and said I understand that from the club side as well. But he is absolutely not spitting the dummy out. That's just shite that you're coming out with there, unfortunately. He's disappointed he didn't get a move because he's 25 and he wants to become a number one. But spitting the dummy out is what Raheem Sterling did. Spitting the dummy out is what others have done. Kelleher is not spitting the dummy out. Why are you saying you're Aussie? I said I'm Irish. I said this might be my Irish bias. Where you're from, well, it's nice to know. I wouldn't judge you for it. I'm just saying he didn't spit the dummy out, mate. He just didn't. Dave said David Lynch is fully behind Kelleher and he's still training at the highest level. He's been the height of professionalism, in my opinion. And again, to be entirely honest, I can't believe nobody was willing to pay 25 or 30 million for him, because I think he's a great keeper. Where I do have a little bit of, is it sympathy? If I'm Caoimhín Kelleher and I see the club going and paying 30 million for Georgi Mamardashvili, who by all accounts looks like a really good goalkeeper. If I'm Caoimhín, I'm looking at it thinking, I've done my bit here. I've progressed through. I've shown I'm good at the top level. And if the club are looking to secure their future by bringing in a different goalkeeper, and it isn't me, they're not looking to maybe make me the Alisson Becker replacement if he moves on. You got to understand that as well. That would feel like a bit of a kick in the nuts, wouldn't it? Especially if you've been as professional and as trained as well as he has and performed as well when he's come in. So it's a situation that I genuinely understand it from all sides. And I do want him to go and become a number one somewhere, because he only gets one career. But of course, selfishly, knowing that he's there as a number two is... it's great to know if Alisson picks up an injury, we have somebody of that calibre behind. So, as a selfish Liverpool fan, I'm happy right now having those two options. But over the course of his career, if I was in his position, I can't lie, I'd be wanting out as well, because I'd want to play. Would love to see your top 10 managers list. At the end of the day, the only people who should decide what your content is made is yourself and Crosby. Yeah, fair. I think I will do the manager one, to be honest with you, mate. I'm going to stick it in my notes when we finish the stream for the next international break, because in October I'm going over to Turkey for a bit of business with myself and the wife. Are heading over there for a while to try and look into a couple of little things around our business, but I'll have to make a couple of videos from away for that time as well. And the all-time Premier League manager top 10 sounds like a great idea for me. So I'm happy to make it, and thank you for the suggestion. Right, my friends, I'm going to say goodnight to you all. I'm going to go finish my unpacking, grab some food, and get ready for tomorrow. So remember, we'll be live from 2 p.m. tomorrow for the watch along. Hope you can join us for it. If you haven't got your tickets for the show in Liverpool, you can do so with the link in the chat or in the description. We're going to be at the Hot Water Comedy Club November 15th. Can't wait to get back over and say hello. Really good to be back on and chat with you all. And hopefully we can cheer the lads on to 3 more points tomorrow when Arne Slot can make it 4 wins from 4. Until then, thank you for your time as always tonight, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow.